Howdy! Another day of prepping material to make the edge banding, that checkerboard we did yesterday. This is me playing with the GoPro and sanding all the little sandwiches that will be cut up into those little checkerboards, and they all have to be nice, clean, and square. So the best way to do that is on the big bench sander. I'm doing it outside so that it's not going to dust up the shop, although I shouldn't have bothered. The shop was going to get pretty trashed today. A lot of work done today. So this is the best way to do it, cleaning up that Purple Heart maple sandwich. It's got to be nice and square. Here is where we have to rip two 1/8" thick walnut rips 1 inch wide. So we've got the standard walnut board that's 15/16 inch wide. So we're marking it to be exactly, it's like 1/8 plus a 32nd. So just a little bit wider because you don't want to risk screwing it up. So we go ahead and mark it. And we're going to take it over to the table saw and rip those two off that board, because the actual sandwich, the whole banding will have 1/8" walnut, then the checkerboard design 1/2 inch, and then another 1/8" walnut capped on top of that. So take it over here to the table saw and get it marked out. It's already marked out, and get it set on the saw, raise the saw blade, and get set up to rip that up. If you don't have one of these thin rip jigs from Rockler, I would get one. This is the handiest tool to have on your whole table saw. Miracle tool. Love it. Couldn't really show the actual ripping of the two thin rips because I just too much going on my head. So GoPro and me are not friends yet. So these are the two 1/8" thick rips. There's the thin rip jig, and how close you can just press that. You can really get a good tight thin rip. So in order to get it to exactly 1/8, you got to set your calipers to exactly 1/8 and double check it. Set those thin rips down on a board using carpet tape, double-sided carpet tape, to keep it attached to the board nice and snug, and then make sure you're checking the depth using the calipers after you've got them precisely correct, and then begin running everything through the planer. So set it to where it just barely touches it, and then check it, run it through, and then knock it down. Like I knock it down about 1/64 at a time. Run it through again. Take the calipers and check that depth. Make sure that you're not exceeding the cut. So knock it down another 1/64 of an inch. Run her through the planer. Check it, and it's still just a hair, probably about a 1/64 of an inch. So knock it back another 1/64 of an inch. Run it through the planer. Perfect. So it's exactly 1/8 of an inch deep, which is what we want. Make sure it looks good, nice and even, front and back, top and bottom. Scrape off the excess glue. Don't want any more glue on that, or from the carpet tape. And they look pretty good. They're both perfect. And next is to build the jig that's going to allow us to stack everything in it so that they can all be nice and even, and you can compress everything. So that's going to be used. This is an old arm off an old furnishing, and I couldn't show the actual routing of the 1 inch wide by 1/2 inch deep groove that you got to cut into this. But that's what I did. I used the router and a big router bit and a 3/4 inch router bit, and then just did successive cuts all the way down to get the size and dimensions that I need to build the router, or to build the jig to stack all this material in. Looks pretty good. Just to make sure it's wide enough, plus enough leeway to put in a layer of wax paper. Don't want stuff glued in there forever. And this is, I believe, the completed jig. So it's got a stop at the end there, which is what we want. And it's got some sawdust, needs cleaned out, but otherwise it looks pretty good. The sizing is exactly right. Double check by sliding in the thin rips. It fits good. Remember having a little extra space to put in some wax paper to make sure your stuff doesn't glue in there forever. Good. Here we're starting to stack the test article, little squares we put in there from yesterday to build the checkerboard pattern. So just kind of checking to make sure they fit. I wanted them to be above the rim there. So the sizing was exactly right. And this is what it'll look like when they're all nice stacked in there, nice and perfect. And this is when they're all compressed up against the stop. So they'll all be compressed using a long bar clamp squeezed in there nice and tight tomorrow after I get everything all I'll load it in there, and then after I cut all the sandwiches up using the bandsaw, I got a big pile of those little squares. So they will come in alternating size to build the nice checkerboard pattern, and then we'll just cap them off with the next walnut thin rip. So big day tomorrow, but a lot of work today. A lot of work today. This was fun, but a lot of work.